In the early 1920s, dial painters would often leave their factory shifts with radium dust clinging to their skin and clothes. In the dark, their hair and dresses emitted a soft greenish light, earning them the nickname the Ghost Girls. This 1920s circular for X-radium cooking utensils highlights how the material was marketed as a scientific preparation, focused on healthfulness. Following Marie Curie's discovery, companies sold radium as a miracle cure, incorporating it into products ranging from face creams to dental paste. The demand for this miracle element was driven largely by the watch industry. To paint the tiny, luminous numbers on these military dials, the United States Radium Corporation hired hundreds of young women, who were often just in their teens. Painting these dials was a respected, high-paying job. However, the same substance that gave the workers their unique status was systematically contaminating their bodies with high-energy radiation. To achieve the fine lines required for the watch faces, supervisors explicitly trained the women to shape their camel hair brushes using their lips and tongues. This lip dip paint method was highly efficient, saving the company time and preventing the waste of expensive paint. The painters were repeatedly assured that the paint was harmless. They were so confident in its safety, using the leftover material as makeup, painting their fingernails and even their teeth to sparkle on nights out. While the women handled the radium directly, the company's chemists and executives took extreme precautions. They worked behind lead-lined screens and handled the concentrated radium using tongs, a luxury of safety they never afforded their employees. This total asymmetry of information ensured that the dial painters continued their work, unaware that every brushstroke was delivering a toxic dose of radiation directly into their systems. The biological tragedy of the Radium Girls was dictated by chemistry. Radium and calcium belong to the same group on the periodic table, meaning the human body cannot distinguish between them. When the girls swallowed the paint, their bodies mistook the radium for calcium and deposited it directly into their bone matrix. Once embedded, the radium becomes a permanent part of the skeleton. It settles into the bones and stays there, emitting constant radiation throughout the victim's life. Inside the bone, the radium decays and releases alpha particles. This internal irradiation is relentless, bombarding the bone marrow and destroying blood cell production from the inside out. Over time, the bones became porous and brittle. The girls suffered from collapsing spines, shattered hips, and a condition called radium jaw, where the jawbone would literally disintegrate and sequester away from the skull. The radium was essentially destroying the women using their own biological processes, turning their skeletons into radioactive waste repositories while they were still alive. The visible symptoms began with dial painter Molly Maggia. After suffering from agonizing tooth pain and non-healing wounds, her entire lower jawbone became so fragile that her dentist was able to remove it in one piece with his bare hands. In 1924, facing public pressure, the company commissioned a study by Dr. Cecil Drinker. When his report confirmed the factory was heavily contaminated and the dial painting technique was to blame, the executives suppressed the findings and submitted a falsified version to the Department of Labor, claiming the workers were in perfect health. As more women fell ill, the company utilized medical disinformation to shield itself from liability. They hired doctors to provide ruse examinations and began claiming the women were actually suffering from syphilis. This tactic was designed to shame the victims and ruin their reputations, effectively silencing them until the legal statutes of limitations expired and their claims became impossible to file. The dial painters were caught in a struggle against two relentless forces: the radioactive decay inside their bodies and a corporate machine determined to hide the evidence of its own negligence. Despite their deteriorating health, a group calling themselves the Society of the Living Dead fought back. Led by figures like Grace Fryer and Catherine Donohue, they filed a lawsuit to hold the corporation responsible for their medical expenses. They faced a barrage of legal obstacles. Corporate lawyers utilized every possible delay tactic, hoping the plaintiffs would die before reaching a jury, while the local community often viewed the lawsuit as a threat to the town's economy. By the time of the 1928 trial, the women were so frail that several had to testify from their sickbeds. They were physically unable to even raise their arms to take the oath. Days before the trial was set to begin, the women secured a settlement. It provided them with a lump sum payment, an annual annuity, and a requirement that the company cover all their legal and medical costs. By refusing to suffer in silence, these women established a precedent holding employers responsible for the physical safety of workers. The scientific legacy of the radium painters is profound. The data harvested from their poisoned bodies helped researchers understand the effects of internal radiation, directly informing the safety protocols used to protect workers on the Manhattan Project. Their legal battle also sparked decades of reform in occupational disease compensation laws. In 1970, the struggle of the Radium Girls was cited as a leading cause in the creation of the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA. While the laws changed, the physics of the element did not. Radium-226 has a 1,600-year half-life. Because of this immense half-life, the remains of the Radium Girls, buried in lead-lined coffins, are still radioactive today. Their bones will continue to glow faintly for centuries. The safety standards and workplace protections we now take for granted are the direct result of the evidence provided by these women's lives. Every worker today is protected by the legacy left behind in their luminous bones.